YouTube, welcome back to my channel, Taylor Talks Tales. Today I have a video. It has a couple things going on with it. First of all, I just want to start it out by saying thank you guys so much for subscribing to my channel. I hit 200 plus subscribers a couple of days ago, and when I checked this afternoon I have 207, so I just wanted to make a video saying thank you so much. I really appreciate it. When I started this channel 2 months ago, I didn't have any expectations for it. I just kind of wanted to make videos and interact with more people who are in the BookTube community and talk about books and some movies and that kind of stuff. So I just kind of went into it no expectations, and already I'm like, wow, I've got 207 people who are following me. This is so amazing. So I just wanted to say thank you so much. I'm going to do another giveaway. I did for my 100 subscriber video, I ended up giving away Sleeping Beauties to Vanessa, who was one of my first subscribers actually. I did a little jar and pulled everything out, so that was my giveaway for that. My giveaway for this video is going to be at the very end, but it's going to also be a book, and it's also going to be a horror book, but stay tuned. So for the rest of this video, I went to a function earlier today and had some fun with my friends, and afterwards I ended up stopping up at the library, even though I already have quite a few of my books that I want to read for February going into March, but a couple of my holds came through, and then I found a couple of fun books while I was there. So I'm going to show you the 9 books that I picked up. A couple of them are going to be reading this month, and a couple will be next month. So the first book I picked up, and this is a very anticipated read for me. It just sounds fantastic. I'm really looking forward to it. And that is Oasis by Katia de Becerra. And I'm going to read the inside flap to you because this sounds really neat. Alif had exciting summer plans, working on her father's archaeology dig site in the desert with 4 close friends and a very cute research assistant. Then the sandstorm hit. With their camp wiped away, Alif and the others find themselves lost on the sands, seemingly doomed until they discover the oasis. It has everything they need: food, water, shade, and mysterious ruins that hide a deadly secret. As reality begins to shift around them, they question what's real and what's a mirage. The answers turn Alif and her friends against one another, and they begin to wonder if they've truly been saved. And while it was easy to walk into the oasis, it may be impossible to leave. Sounds really neat. I love survival fiction. This seems like it's probably going to be a cross-genre. It may be thriller, survival, who knows, maybe there'll be supernatural elements to it, maybe it might dive into horror territory, I'm not sure, but this sounds really, really neat. I haven't really seen too many reviews on it yet because I think it just came out. I put this on hold at my library as soon as I heard about it, and I'm like, I was one of the first people to click put on hold while this was still in order, so it just came through, so I'm very excited. This sounds wonderful. Next book is one I've had on my TBR for like 2 or 3 years. At one point I checked it out, but I got distracted and read something else, but this sounds really good, and I've heard amazing things about this book from people in the horror community, and that is Kill Creek by, I think, Scott Thomas. I'm going to read the inside flap to you, but this one does have some pretty cool deckled edges, and I just love how floppy it is. At the end of a dark prairie road, nearly forgotten in the Kansas countryside, is the Finch House. For years it has remained empty, overgrown, abandoned. Soon the door will be opened for the first time in decades. But something is waiting, lurking in the shadows, anxious to meet new guests. Ooh. When best-selling author Sam McGarver is invited to spend Halloween night in one of the world's most infamous haunted houses, he reluctantly agrees. At least he won't be alone. Joining him are 3 other masters of the macabre, writers who have helped shape modern horror. But what begins as a simple publicity stunt will become a fight for survival. The entity they have awakened will follow them, torment them, threatening to make them a part of the bloody legacy of Kill Creek. Also, I totally got distracted. Somebody had a cute little fox sticky note in here. Yeah, this sounds really, something I am kind of punching myself for not having read sooner. It just sounds like a perfect book. I love haunted house stories, and when writers are main character and things going on, and I've heard positive things, so looking forward to checking that out. Next one, I put this on hold. One of my friends who is super into high fantasy had recommended this, and then I also saw this was on a list. I think Daniel Green, he does a bunch of fantasy books here on YouTube, and there's a couple other fantasy-focused YouTube channels, and they were recommending this book. And it just came out, and it's Joe Abercrombie's A Little Hatred. This book, I not sure if I'm going to read this first and then read his First Law trilogy as part of my fantasy binge that I'm doing, or if I'll read that trilogy first and then this one, but I'm interested. I've heard really good things about this. I'll just read the inside flap really quick, but it takes place kind of in that, I think it's all supposed to take place like in the same world. The laws are changing. The chimneys of industry rise over Dua and the world seethes with new opportunities. But old scores run as deep as ever. On the blood-soaked borders of England, Leo de Brock struggles to win fame on the battlefield and defeat the marauding armies of Stour Nightfall. He hopes for help from the crown, but King Jezel's son, the feckless Prince Orso, is a man who specializes in disappointments. Savine dan Glocta, socialite, investor, and daughter of the most feared man in the Union, plans to claw her way to the top of the slag heap of society by any means necessary. But the slums boil over with a rage that all the money in the world cannot control. The age of the machine dawns, but the age of magic refuses to die. With the help of the mad hill woman Isern y Fal, Rick struggles to control the blessing or the curse of the Long Eye. Glimpsing the future is one thing, but with the guiding hand of the first of the Magi still pulling the strings, changing it will be quite another. Boom. Pretty hefty book, but I'm looking forward to it. I like grimdark stuff and kind of morally gray characters, so that should be interesting. Next one is by an author that I really enjoy a lot of his work. Previously, I've mentioned his work on a couple of my videos on this channel, and that's Ronald Moffe's Little Girls, a ghost story. And look at creepy little doll hands. I'm gonna read the back really quick. When Laurie was a little girl, she was forbidden to enter the room at the top of the stairs. It was one of the many rules imposed by her cold, distant father. Now, in a final act of desperation, her father has exorcised his demons. But when Laurie returns to claim the estate with her husband and 10-year-old daughter, it's as if the past refuses to die. She feels it lurking in the broken moldings, sees it staring from an empty picture frame, hears it laughing in the moldy greenhouse deep in the woods. At first, Laurie thinks she's imagining things. But when she meets her daughter's new playmate, Abigail, she can't help but notice her uncanny resemblance to another little girl who used to live next door. Who died next door. With each passing day, Laurie's uneasiness grows stronger, her thoughts more disturbing. Like her father, is she slowly losing her mind? Or is something truly unspeakable happening to those sweet little girls? Creepy children, maybe creepy dolls, creepy house. I'm excited because so far I've read quite a few of Ronald Moffe's books, but I haven't really read one of his, I guess, more traditionally ghost story tale like this, so I'm excited to be diving into this. Next one I have on my list, partially because I've seen so many people either giving it 1 star or 5 star. They either hate it or love it, so I kind of want to form my own opinion and kind of contribute to the discussion that's going on. And it's a thriller novel, and it's Baby Teeth by Zoji Stage. I'm going to read this flap to you, but this one, I don't know, I haven't heard very many like kind of 3-star reviews. It's either it's great or it's terrible, so I'm intrigued. Suzette is a devoted stay-at-home mother doing everything she can to connect with her 7-year-old daughter, who cannot or will not speak. But ever since Hannah was a baby, Suzette couldn't help but feel despised by her, manipulated, and scared to death. Alex, Hannah's father, wants to believe his wife's account of Hannah's cruel and unusual behavior. The only problem is that Alex has never really seen it himself. Hannah shows him nothing but love, and it's driving Suzette literally crazy. Could it be that Hannah is just a typical naughty girl, one whose everyday antics toward her mother points to intelligence, creativity, maybe even charm? Or is it Hannah, as Suzette fears, actually trying to kill her? So, we'll see. But this one does sound pretty interesting. I like reading sort of controversial books that not everybody likes, because I like to form my own opinions. I'm interested to see if I'm going to be in the camp who hates it, or the camp who loves it, or maybe I'll be one of those rare people who's kind of like sees the good and bad in the book, so we'll see, but definitely want to check this one out. Next one, I haven't heard a whole lot about this book, but it sounds really neat, and I do like sci-fi horror a lot, and that's what this book is, but it's The Last Astronaut by David Wellington, and I like the tag. It's "We thought we no longer needed her." Anyway, I'm going to read the inside flap to you, but or the back, but it seems really interesting. A large alien object has entered the solar system on a straight course toward Earth. It has made no attempt to communicate and is ignoring all transmissions. Out of time and out of options, NASA turns to former mission commander Sally Jansen. Jansen was their leading astronaut until a mission to Mars ended in disaster. Haunted by her failure, she lives in quiet anonymity, convinced her days in space are over. She's wrong. So, I'm excited. There's something, like, extra creepy to, like, for me about space horror, especially when it's, like, outer space and you feel this sense of, like, claustrophobia and, like, no one's coming to help you and you're stuck and one wrong move and your ship could blow up. So I've heard, I haven't heard a whole lot, but I've heard from at least 1 or 2 people that they enjoyed this, so I decided to pick it up, because I do enjoy Alien, and I also read The Luminous Dead last year, and that's a sci-fi horror where there's a woman who's down in, like, caverns in, like, this suit, guided by another woman, and that was really interesting, so I'm kind of hoping maybe this might have sort of a similar feel to that book. I'm not sure, but this is definitely what I'm looking forward to. Next one is, I've already reviewed 2 of his books on my channel, so it makes sense for me to read his 3rd book. He has 4 books out, but this is the 3rd one. And I also enjoy ocean and water-based horror as well, so this sounds very intriguing. Nick Cutter's The Deep. So, I reviewed The Troop and Little Heaven. This one, I think, is one of his older... I think this came out before The Troop and Little Heaven, but I don't quite remember his publishing order, but I know this is one of the older ones. A strange plague called the Gets is decimating humanity on a global scale. It causes people to forget. Small things at first, like where they left their keys, then the not-so-small things, like how to drive or the letters of the alphabet. Their bodies forget how to function involuntarily. There is no cure. But now, far below the surface of the Pacific Ocean, deep in the Mariana Trench, a heretofore unknown substance called ambrosia, a universal healer, from initial reports, has been discovered. It may just be the key to eradicating the Gets. In order to study this phenomenon, a special research lab, the Trieste, has been built 8 miles under the sea's surface. But when the station goes incommunicado, a brave few descend through the lightless fathoms in hopes of unraveling the mysteries lurking at those crushing depths, and perhaps to encounter an evil blacker than anything one could possibly imagine. Sorry, the type inside of that flap was really tiny, and like, my eyes don't work. This sounds really awesome. Also, any kind of plague or weird disease or weird disorder or something that can happen to the human body and spread, I also find very interesting. So I'm looking forward to this. I've heard this is supposed to be very creepy, and I've heard that it may not be Nick Cutter's best work, but it's one of his scariest. So we'll see, because my goal is to read all 4 of his books so I can see which one's my favorite. Alright, just 2 more books and then we're going to get to the giveaway portion. Next one this is also part of my fantasy binge. This one came through and I'm really looking forward to it a lot, and that's Foundry Side by Robert Jackson Bennett, which, just look at that cover. I don't know why, this just looks really neat. This one sounds really cool. Santia Grotto is a thief, and a damn good one. In her latest target, a heavily guarded warehouse on Tavan's docks, is nothing her unique abilities can't handle. But unbeknownst to her, Santia has been sent to steal an artifact of unimaginable power, an object that could revolutionize the magical technology known as scribing. The merchant houses who control this magic, the art of using coded commands to imbue everyday objects with sentience, have already used it to transform Tavan into a vast, remorseless capitalist machine. But if they can unlock the artifact's secrets, they will rewrite the world itself to suit their aims. Now someone in those houses wants Santia dead and the artifact for themselves. And in the city of Tavan, nobody has the power to stop them. But there are those who may have the courage to fight alongside Santia, like the hackers who practice scribing in secret, half a step ahead of the house's thugs, or the technological wizard who's bartered his soul for political power, and, beneath his cynicism, may be desperate for a chance to redeem it. Or the constable whose eagerness to bring Santia to justice is matched only by his need to hold the powerful accountable for their sins. To have a chance at surviving, and at stopping the deadly transformation that's underway, Santia will have to marshal these unlikely allies, learn to harness the artifact's power for herself, and undergo her own transformation, one that will turn her into something she could never have imagined. I know that the sequel, so I think this is going to be part of a trilogy or maybe a smaller series. The second one is coming out this spring, so I'm very interested to read this and then pick up, if I enjoy it, which sounds like I probably will, I don't want to jinx it, then I'm going to pick up this second book. So this looks pretty fun. I also heard, I think there's a female romance in that book, but don't count me on it. But there might be. I remember hearing something. It was either this book or another book that sounded similar. But either way, that's a lot of fun to add into a book. Alright, last book, and then I'm going to get to the giveaway portion. This one's been on my TBR for a while. I put it on hold like months and months ago at my library, but everyone wanted to read it because it had just recently came out. That's Joe Hill's Full Throttle. Got some stories. I read his Strange Weather back in October, going into November. So I'm interested to see some more of his stories. So I'm going to read the inside flap and then we'll keep on moving. In this masterful collection of short fiction, Joe Hill dissects timeless human struggles and relentless tales of supernatural suspense, including In the Tall Grass, one of 2 stories co-written with Stephen King and the basis for the terrifying feature film from Netflix. A little door opens to a world of fairy tale wonders that becomes the blood-drenched stomping ground for a gang of hunters in Fawn. A grief-stricken librarian climbs behind the wheel of an antique bookmobile to deliver fresh reads to the dead and late returns. In By the Silver Water of Lake Champlain, soon to be an episode of Shudder's TV Creepshow, 2 young friends stumble on the corpse of a plesiosaur at the water's edge, a discovery that forces them to confront the inescapable truth of their own mortality, and other horrors that lurk in the water's shivery depths. And tension shimmers in the sweltering heat of the Nevada desert as a faceless trucker finds himself caught in a sinister dance with a tribe of motorcycle outlaws in Throttle, co-written with Stephen King. Replete with shocking thrillers, including 2 previously unpublished stories written expressly for this volume, Mums and Late Returns, and another appearing in print for the first time, Dark Carousel. Full Throttle is a darkly imagined odyssey through the complexities of the human psyche. So, I'm looking forward to this. I actually saw it in the Tall Grass twice, and it was decent. The more I think about it, though, the more I actually didn't really care for it a whole lot, but I'm interested to see how it compares to the short story. And some of these other short stories sound really, really neat, so we'll have to see how this compares. And I also want to see the 2 stories in particular that Stephen King and Joe Hill wrote together, because I just think that's so adorable. If I had a kid, I would love to have my kid write with me. That's like win-win situation right there, so I think that's really cute. Okay. So, those are the books that I got for my book haul. A couple of them are going to be reading in February, and a few will be March reads. Now, giveaway. So, actually I put it over here. I thought I hit it on the bottom part of my bookshelf. So, I want to give away Bone White by Ronald Mulvey. It was one of the books that I recommended in my winter horror reads recommendations video. So if you haven't checked that out, I'm going to link it in the down bar below so you can go check it out. I purchased 2 copies of this, one for myself and then one for the giveaway, just because I think this is a pretty enjoyable book that's, I think, kind of underrated in, I think, this time of year, because it's still winter and it's still cold and snowy and all of that. It'd be fun to send this to one of my subscribers. So, how to enter the giveaway to win this book is, I just want you to make sure that you like and comment on this video and make sure you're a subscriber, because this is for my subscribers. And then just tell me if you, I guess maybe 3 things that you like about the winter and 3 things that you don't like about the winter. And they can be horror related, it can be book related, it could be anything like that. But yeah, 3 things that you like about winter and 3 things that you don't, because this is sort of a winter-y giveaway, I guess, because we're, still in the cold month of February. I will give you guys 2 weeks, starting tomorrow. I mean, the giveaway is open now, so if you want to comment and leave the information below, you can do that, but my cutoff is going to be 2 weeks from tomorrow at 11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, because I live in Washington. So anyway, thank you so much again for subscribing. It really means a lot to me, and I really like a lot of the feedback I've been getting and a lot of the interactions, and it means the world to me. It really does. So thank you so much. And also, if you guys do have channels and I haven't checked it out yet, feel free to plug your channel so I can come check out your videos too. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Happy reading. Comment, like, rate, subscribe, enter the giveaway, And I will talk to you guys later, probably in the next couple days. I have a couple more book reviews that I need to get uploaded. So thank you so much, and you guys have a great day.